Welcome to Lafayette Custom Uncensored. Today we're going to repair a dent on this bed that we got. It's going on the truck that we're working on. The dent is about that big right there. We're going to show you how to pull it and bondo it, and will be a couple steps that we'll do in stages. First one will be fixing the metal and putting the bondo on. First thing I'll do is you got to put your hand on it. Feel right there is a low spot, so I'm going to grind this down so we can put our metal rod in there and pull right there. So let me get where I can do that. I went around the outside of the dent. We'll end up blending that off with a DA later with 80 grit and then 180 before we prime it. We'll put these little metal studs on it, and I think I'll probably put 3 on it and may be able to pull it out with 1 in the middle. Not real sure. We'll put 3 on it and see what that does. We may have to put more, or not real sure. I'm gonna start off with putting one right in the middle of the dent where it's the lowest, which is right there in the center. I put one right there. That right there will get hot, so you gotta be careful, if you will. Put your hand on it, feel where it needs to go. I think go with one right here. Just hold it down for about 2 or 3 seconds, let it weld on there. I think what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna see what it'll do. I have a pull hammer. We'll put it on this one right here and just ease back and see what the metal does. May pop right out. Didn't really look like it did a whole lot for this. Back on this one and pull it a little bit. It's coming a little bit, so I'm gonna go back to this one in the front. Do it again. Yep, look at that, pop right out then. Feel that around there, feels pretty good. So what we'll do now is we'll cut those off. Get my grinder back on it, and you can feel it with your hand. Those things, when you cut those off, you need to grind them down. They will cut you. I can still feel there's a little bit of a dent. One. Feel right there, so I'm gonna do it again. Just do a little bit and then feel it. It's not that right there. Feels like it's real good right there. It's a little low right there in the middle. So I'm gonna put one right in the middle of these two, like that. And then this one I'm gonna pull and get my hammer and tap around the edges right there. Make sure it'll stay if it moves any. That way it doesn't go back. Yeah, look at that. Come out just a little bit. Just kind of tap it right there. Not enough to really put a dent in it, just alright. Take this one off. And the object here, of course, is to fix the metal. That way you don't put a whole lot of bondo on it. We're gonna grind that piece down again. handled up right here. We're gonna do one more. Right here this time. Little low spot right there. You gotta be careful right here. This thing right here is hot also. Yeah, will come out. Bringing it out just a little bit at a time. We're gonna let it grinder again. See what it feels like. Should be pretty close. Then we'll put some mud on it. Gotta be real careful though, they'll cut you. Feels pretty good. Just been a little bit low still, but I think we're good on that. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna do one more right there. See if that'll come out a little bit. Yep, a little bit. Okay. Grind that off. Right there feels good there. That a little low right there. Do one more time. Just keep doing it till it's right. I mean, I could go ahead and put bondo on it now. But the object is to fix the metal. I got one more right here. A little low right there. And I'm not pulling on it hard enough to stretch the metal. It'll come out just a little bit right there. Just doing that just to kind of tighten it up a little bit. Make sure we can go back in. Sometimes when you do that, they'll just pop right back in if you don't tap on it after you pull it out. Because it has like a little crater around it when it goes in. You have to tap that down when you pull out in the middle. Okay, that feels really good. I mean, it's got a little bit of movement in it, but that's fine. So what we'll do now is I'm gonna hit the edges right there with the DA.
Unplug that grinder.
And then we'll wipe some bondo. I'm just gonna feather this in a little bit, back that way. body line right there, I'll keep it like above the body line. And I generally don't like to put bondo over paint. They say you can do it. Sometimes it happens. But a general rule of thumb, I usually don't do that. So we'll come back a little bit. There should not be any bondo on this paint. There may be a little bit, but it'll be fine if there is. All right, so I'm gonna get some bondo and get it mixed up. How I'm doing that.
What grit sandpaper did you use?
That was 80 grit on the DA, and it'll be first it'll be 36 on the bondo, and then it'll be 80 grit, and finally it'll be 180 at the end before you prime. There'll be another video on blocking it after I primed it. And just put just a little bit in it like that, about an inch and a half or so. The more harder I finish, the faster it hardens. And then just mix it up till it's all equal color blue. Don't see light and dark spots in it. And then do like that and flip it up, turn it over. The way what's on the bottom gets on top, it gets mixed up real good. And you have some that'll get stuck on your, make sure you get most of it off of that too. A lot of times your hardening will be still on your spreader. Don't do, get it off like that. All right, so that looks pretty good. What I'll start off doing, I'll put some bondo over the main spot in the middle. Like that. And the majority of this bondo will be sanded off. Do that just to build it up. And then I'll come out a little bit more with it. Like that. I'm gonna put one more on the top right here in the front. Trying to make it a little smoother. Once this body line down there, that'll be off. All right, so what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna pause the video and let that dry. We'll start it back up right here with the sanding. So I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. The bondo's dried. I'm gonna start off with 36 grit to knock the high spots off. May have to wipe it again, not sure. It's only been about 6 or 7 minutes. We don't really want it completely hard when we do this. It makes it harder to sand. You can see right there, that's a low spot. So what I'll do is I'll sand till that goes away, and hopefully there's enough bondo there, and if not, we'll just put a skim coat on it. Back and forth at angles like this and like this. All right, so I'm starting this is pretty rough. So I'm gonna do a little more down here with it. And I know this has got to go right here on this body line, right here below. That's got to go. I'm gonna get a little more down there, and then I'll have to change the 80 grit because it'll start chunking it up. It won't be feathered edge like it needs to. It'll be rough. Go at an angle and then cross. I got coming through right there. See how that's gone away. That needs to, because all that was good. Still got a little bit of a low spot right there. I'm gonna drop down to 80 grit so it doesn't release this big groove. Being this size of a dent, you could use air on it. Gotta be careful using air because it'll take it away real quick. Keep your sandpaper clean. You can feel it. It's still got a little area right there. Right there is good. A little high right there, so I'm gonna kind of feather that in a little bit. This right here needs to come down some, so I keep going like this. So you're seeing the metal show through here. That's gonna have to stop right there. So we're gonna sand this up here a little bit and this down here a little bit more. You can feel this, and it's still low right there, so it is gonna need another skim coat. So I'm gonna do this real quick, then we'll put another coat on it. Real close. All that feels real good. Still feel a little bit right there. All that feels real good. Okay. See, got the low spot right there. Still feel this right here, but we're gonna wipe it again. Real skim coat right there. Not sure why this isn't feeling maybe still high right here. I'm gonna get this a little more. Soften it up. Get going one way like this and going back the other way. The edge right there. The edge is fine, so we'll get all that excess bondo off. Like that. This right here is not being sanded, it'll just peel off. We'll do that later. Alright, so I'm gonna do a real thin coat of bondo over that. Won't need a whole lot. This will be a real small coat. Basically all I had time to do during when we was paused was clean my stuff up and get ready for the next. It really doesn't take long for this to dry. Depends on, like I said, depends on how much hardener. This will dry a little faster because I put a little more hardener in it. We'll still pause the video. Still gotta take a few minutes to do that. We won't sit here and watch it dry. Same way mixing it up. Let's get some nice even color all the way through. Don't see any light or dark spots. This is getting close. Yep, there we go. That's pretty good. Got your nuns on the on the spreader. We'll just nice even coat. Actually, we'll put a little bit right there to begin with, and then we'll go over the top of it with real small, real thin. Pushing down a little bit, like that. Kind of putting more pressure on the outside toward my pinky. Make it kind of a slope back this way. That's all we're gonna do. We're gonna leave it like that. Let that dry. still think you may have to do a little more in the middle. I'll tell you what, let me do that anyway. Just come back one more time. Like that. Okay. And we'll let this dry, clean my stuff up, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back again. Bondo's dry. We'll start off with 80 grit on this one instead of the 36. Not a whole lot of bondo added there. And same principle. I always sand it at an angle. And when first started off, it's kind of sticky on your pad. Just to be able to clean it, I may have to change it. Kind of back and forth at an angle. Looking at the pattern that your sandpaper's making on it. I've got my stick. And put your hands on it and feel it. As you can tell, this down here is still real high. This up here is getting close. So I'm gonna concentrate down here. This takes it off slower, so it's not gonna be as quick as the 36, but it feathers in better. Same thing down here, that was not a dent down there, so we know that bondo's gotta go. I'll work this body line back that way. Make sure that's right. I'm keeping the block flat on this side. And you can see a gap in the top right here. And now I'll go on the top side of the boundary line. You can tell that right there, probably gonna have to go, because that's on the body line. So I'll kind of go over, follow the body line right here with the middle. Now to keep it straight, and then go up and down. Don't keep going in the same spot. That whole bottom was high, so I'm gonna go up and down right there and sand that off. And there's still no guarantee that this will be right. You can still see just a little bit of the low spot right there in the middle. The reason why I put the skim coat, but we're still high, so I think we're in good shape. And as I get closer down here, I'll work up. You can tell by looking at this how it's all feathering in. There's no sharp or direct lines or anything. That's fairly good. Of course, this up here needs to be sanded. This down here is fairly good. Feels good like that. So we'll keep going up. I still feel that center right there, so it's still got a low spot. Hopefully that'll sand out. We're still high right here, so just come up here and work down. Constantly feeling it the whole time. Yeah, I'm still high right here because it's on the paint. We know this down here is feeling real good. Got to get this gone, this up here gone. That's starting to feel real good. Still feel something right there, maybe just a little bit. Feels good this way. I'm gonna sand just a little bit more. I know I'm still high right here. We got this edge right here we know is still high, so I'm gonna go down a little bit, put a little more pressure in the front. And that right there feels really good. No marks here. Still got a little bit right here, so we know we still got to come down just a little bit in the front. And up here, still got a little, it's still high right here, so I'm gonna do that. This week, that's gonna be ready. We'll hit it with 180 in the block. Real briefly. And then we'll hit it with the DA. We're going to use lacquer primer on this instead of 2K. Lacquer primer does not cover 80 grit scratches like the 2K does. I'm pushing down a little more on the front than the back. I know this body line right here was good, so we really want to see metal right there, all the way down, like that. And it's just a little bit of metal all the way down, so all that bondo on that side can go. Rub it off, like that. All right, that right there is good. I'll get this off. It'll just come off. There's no, and that right there is why you sand. That's a perfect example of why you have to sand stuff. You look right here. I'll use this. That's bondo dried. Watch, it'll just come right off. Well, I say that and it didn't. But you look right there. Watch, I can get it with my fingernail. Look, it comes right off. You can go down just like that till it starts sanding where the sanding scratches are, and then it'll hold. But up there, come off. And that was from the first coat of bondo, so that's definitely dry. So that's why you have to sand right there. Perfect example. This right here is good. I'm gonna hit it with a 180 real quick. I'm gonna tell you what, I'm gonna go on and just hit it with the DA real quick, real light. With the 180, just to get the 80 grit scratches out, so the lacquer primer will cover. And I put tape up here. You don't want to hit this with a DA. Just scratch it. See right there, you want all the 80 grit scratches gone. I can still some right there. So I'm that's below the bottom line, so that's good for primer. And up here, be sure to keep it flat right here. I like to cut it down just a little bit. Don't cut it too far down. Hit it real lightly. Gonna block it again. Trying to get the 80 grit scratches out. Let's come all the way back here where the block was. All that has to go. Okay, that right there. I'll come back and get that. That's ready for prime. Okay. That right there is ready for prime. That's how you fix a dent. It's on a flat piece of metal, maybe with a little bit of curve in it. Does door dings and stuff like that too. We're gonna show the priming and the blocking. So subscribe, like, share. Definitely want your input, so comment. Thank you. Have a good day.